Good day, viewers. Welcome to another edition of 30 Minutes, the interactive program of Trust Television. I'm Manir Dan Ali. My guest today is Alhaji Muhammad Abubakar, who is the current president of the Commercial Dairy Ranchers Association of Nigeria and also the past president of the Poultry Association of Nigeria in Kano State. Alhaji Muhammad Abubakar, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Alhaji Manir. It's a pleasure being here.
Why did you leave chickens for cows? Because I believe some may ask that question. You started out largely as a poultry farmer, even getting to be the president in Kano State where your farm is based, and then you now almost exited completely poultry and you are in dairy cows. What happened?
Yeah, actually I think it was very strategic. We started as in poultry because it was it had a very short life cycle. You can turn around the money much quicker, and but unfortunately it's also very risky, and you can lose lots of money over a short time. Unlike cows, they have longer lifespan and they are more rugged. That's on the animal side. Then on the business side, we realized that what we were getting in poultry, we could easily get it by increasing the volume of production we are doing. That is, if you increase just a few number of cows, you can get product, which is milk in this instance, that can compensate for number of chickens that you decide to stop rearing. So when we look at this strategically, we realize why do we have to go all the way to continue doing poultry if we have an option that is easier to handle and it gives us a good return. So for that reason, we decided to go into dairy and abandon poultry. But it did not just happen because we were interested in abandoning one and taking one. The poultry challenges came, particularly the bird flu challenges. We realized that we are in a belt where bird flu became endemic and it becomes an annual recurring event. At any given time, we lose birds.
There isn't any mechanism to cope. There isn't any support, no insurance, or is epileptic, and the government promises but doesn't deliver.
There was an arrangement. We were compensated once or twice, and so the government stopped along the way to compensate further. So up to now, we have lost chickens killed by the government, and government had not compensated us. So when you go through two cycles, you lose your entire capital. And so what we try to stop is not to go to the third cycle so that we become bankrupt. So since we had dairy cows, as I told you, and we did a comparative analysis, we realized we could just jump into our cows and abandon poultry. So we took that strategic decision.
And probably your background as a banker helped, because you are looking at it from hard-nosed business decision, not maybe just some passion for keeping one set of animals in place of the other. You are looking at it in business terms.
Yeah, definitely. It was a strategic business decision. And we're into dairy for business, not for passion, though the initial reason why you go into a certain business, passion helps because it prepares you and enables you to start. But ultimately, for sustainability, the business has to be profitable. So if it has to be profitable, and if the profitability will sustain the business, then most decisions will be taken for the sake of making the business to be sustainable.
But many people are into farming more out of passion than maybe business. Is that why a lot of them do not succeed?
Yeah, definitely. You see, agric is supposed to be a business, and that's why I always like to the shift from agriculture to agribusiness. Of course, if it remains a culture and a passion, it's something that you don't bring in money into it. Probably some sentiment or emotions push you into it, and the way you go, that's the way you go out. Emotions puts you, emotion takes you out. But if it's business, then it's something that you probably don't even have to have your heart into it, but it's self-sustaining, because it involves a lot of people that come into and they are living, and they will make sure that it thrives. So that's the difference between agriculture and agribusiness. So looking at it from business point of view, it really helps, and that's what keeps us going. And every agribusiness, if it's really looked at from that perspective, it's certainly going to be a sustainable venture. And it's not only in Nigeria, it happens all over the world. Your local farmer in your village is not the type of farmer you have in Brazil, for instance, that or your wheat farmer that you have that is doing just to live. It's not the type of farmer you have in Russia or Ukraine that produce billions of tons and that exports and makes money. So this is how business should be. This is how agri should be looked at. And once that paradigm shift is at play, you will see a difference in the way agribusiness will turn.
In your own case, you are not just producing the primary product, but you are adding value. So it's not, you don't just end in your cows producing milk. You also process it to some other products that are in demand in the market. Why did you make that decision? Why not just produce the milk and push it into the market?
Yeah, unfortunately, when we started, the playing ground we found ourselves in was against local production of milk. We were producing milk at then 250 naira and
per liter.
Per liter. That's cost of production. And if you go to Kano market, imported powdered milk goes for about 120. So we're almost 100% less than cheaper. More. And so imported product is 100% cheaper than ours. So
that's where there was no mass market will go.
Exactly. So mass market was going there. But fortunately now, by commission or omission, some interplay of
you mean the exchange rate?
The exchange rate, some macroeconomic factors came and makes the importation of such product extremely difficult and costlier, to the extent that now I think is the reverse. So we are now cheaper.
That the locally produced milk
now
is cheaper than the imported one.
So this is the time that I feel a right-thinking person should go into milk production. At this level, you don't have to add value. We were adding value then, as I told you, because we were much, the import milk was much cheaper than us. And for us to exist in the market, we have to add value. That's the only way we can make some margin. But now, you don't have to. So, and it makes it much simpler, and you can make a lot of money.
But is there a market for raw milk? Because you know there are certain things which are not there. That is the milk collection system, keeping it cool, and all of that are not there. And maybe until you are big, you may not be able to invest in that kind of thing.
Yeah. So the issue is government policy is very important in this instance. We are producing milk, and we're also aggregating from smallholder farmers. And
you buy from them.
We buy from them. And what we do is, because we are now seeing the market, we go to the villages, establish milk collection centers, invest in solar-powered cooling systems that villagers can bring in their milk, put into the chilling system, keep it there, and we pay them their money. And we come once in a day to evacuate the milk to our processing center. So we invested, and we invested because there's a margin in it. And so the problem now is not the issue of pushing you to invest. It's where do you send where do you sell the end products?
Exactly, and that's the point I'm making.
So there's a backward integration policy championed by the Central Bank of Nigeria. This is supposed to push, and I hope the Federal Ministry of Agriculture that's supposed to be the custodian of this policy, and then they will take this very seriously. It's been lying in the Federal Ministry for quite a while, a policy that was worked out to support and encourage multinationals that are the major players in the downstream to buy milk off the smallholder farmers. And that's what, once that is enforced, and you will see that even the milk we're producing in Nigeria will not be enough. So now still we are going back to the same issue that, okay, if you produce, even though it's cheaper, so the best you can do is you can get some of these multinationals, they buy.
But they are not everywhere. They are in very small places.
Once the policy of backward integration and import substitution is enforced, then they will be forced to buy. If they are forced to at least take 30% of their raw material from the local source, we will be in a position now to sell our product, to sell the raw milk much quicker, and the return will be higher and quicker as well.
But isn't that counter to the mantra of market forces? Because you are like trying to force businesses to do certain things, and maybe it may be more expensive for them. They may not want to follow that route.
No, it's not expensive. It's cheaper. It's cheaper. That's what I told you. Now, local production is about 300 naira a liter. Even the worst of milk, which is not the real full cream milk, goes for about 620 naira per liter. So when you're talking of a milk, apple to apple, imported milk that is of high quality and the same standard as our own raw milk, it goes for about 800 to 1,000 naira a liter. And cost of production here in Nigeria is about 300. So the margin, the difference is about 700 naira. So unless if there's other motive that will make an importer to continue to want to import against local sourcing. And some of this we've identified is because they are established.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. There are big players that have been in Nigeria for long, and they have established linkages to, dairy businesses abroad.
Exactly. So why would we be outsourcing our food security to these guys? It's time.
So you want maybe some of what has happened with rice to now happen in milk?
That is just the option. You can imagine if in the COVID era, we were dependent on rice importation, it would have been, the story would have been different. So I don't know what will happen because what is happening all over the world now, even the milk production in these developed countries is being discouraged. So we are relying heavily on them, and we are made to rely heavily on them. And they are gradually withdrawing into dairy production due to this climate.
Okay, yes, there's this issue of climate change, the concern that cows produce a lot of methane gas and what have you.
Exactly.
But so, then isn't it a worry for you
no,
locally?
It wouldn't be a worry because there, it's industrial dairy
scale.
At industrial scale. And you'll see a cow that, you see, I've been talking about this, that Nigerians, we don't need a 30-liter producing cow. All we need is just 2 liters, 5 liters, but let them be more. That's just what we need. And if we have them more and they're just low producing, the challenge of this pollution is minimal. We have been living with this, our local cows, for thousands of years. They have never affected the
well, but you haven't carried out any scientific study.
No, of course we have not.
Find out whether they do or not.
What we know for certain and for sure is we can't say that the cows that we've been living with for these years have affected the environment because we know that the methane they produce is not as high. This, you don't need rocket science. All you need is a simple instrument that tests methane output from your cow. You see that our own local cows, the output of methane from each cow is minimal as against the 30-liter producing cows in Europe. So I think this is scientific.
Very good point, at which we'll go for a short break and resume in a while. Viewers, it is 30 Minutes, the interactive program of Trust Television, and my guest today is Alhaji Muhammad Abubakar, the president of the Commercial Dairy Ranchers Association of Nigeria and also the proprietor of L&Z Farms in Kano. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, it is 30 Minutes, the interactive program of Trust Television. And my guest today is Alhaji Muhammad Abubakar, the president of Commercial Dairy Ranchers Association of Nigeria and proprietor of L&Z Farms in Kano. Before we went on the break, you are making a comparison between the cows of Europe and other places that produce up to 30 liters and ours that are producing 20 liters, and you are arguing that actually we don't need the 30 liters cows for our milk production, even as poor as our own are. If the numbers increase, we could meet our milk production, milk consumption needs.
Yeah, in the country.
How will that be possible?
Yeah, you see, the argument has always been aggregation. So we go by, it's still the 1999 statistics of number of cattle that we have in the country. As I always say that if you have 20 million cows, and even if you take 5 million, as that is one-fourth of the total number
the female cows.
Yeah, and you assume these are the female cows that are producing milk, and if they give you even 2 liters, you're left with 10 liters milk per day, and current consumption
10 million.
Yeah, stands at less than 10 million in a day. So common sense statistics will tell you that you have enough cows to give you milk. But the problem is, how do you aggregate this milk and get it to the processing center? Are the processors willing to collect this milk? That has always been the challenge, and this is where government policies must come and force these processors to take up this milk. Once that is done, then the investment in the midstream where the milk collection centers are supposed to take place will be incentivized. People will go and invest. You don't need to organize conference for them. Once the money is flowing, people will go and invest. You don't have to even have cows. You see, the value chain is so long and it's so effective that you can decide to play at the production level. You can go and play at the aggregation level, where you can invest in cold chain, and then you can even
maybe involved in just transportation.
That's just it. You get cold vehicles. It's happening all over the world that they will go and take, and then you deliver to those processes. Then you can also get involved in the processing. You can also get involved in the marketing. So the whole value chain is long, and any point of the value chain is a money spinner.
Is that what the Kenyans here on the African continent have done? Because you see there that a family owns just 2 dairy cows and they are living on that. They are able to produce milk and sell quickly at a competitive price, and
of course that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing in India. It's what they're doing in Bangladesh. Some of these developing countries, this is what they are doing. And I was just talking to a friend because I was in Europe last week, and I priced a liter of milk in the supermarket. It goes for about 1.8 euro. That is about 1,500 naira per liter. So you can imagine that is what a liter of. So why will they send? If they send to sell in Nigeria, how much would they sell to us? Which means a liter of milk now will fetch them 1,500 in Europe. How much will it fetch them for them to be incentivized to bring such milk to Nigeria? That is why they have all sorts of manipulations to bring in what we call fat-filled milk, where they remove the basic ingredients, then infuse some other fats into it. So at the end of the day, it's cheaper milk, that comes to us. That's the only milk that can even compete with the that can even be competitive in Nigerian market today.
But how do you deal with even the taste buds of Nigerians that are used to powdered milk? Because most Nigerians are brought up on powdered milk, not liquid milk.
Yes.
I believe maybe not even up to 1% use liquid milk in their day-to-day consumption.
Yeah, so this is where the issue of taste has to change. Actually, the truth of the matter is not that we're used to powdered milk. It's not that powdered milk is better than the liquid milk. No, it's our way of preparing our meals. We used to prepare tea so creamy. So when you prepare your tea, you take powdered milk, you put then the consistency, you determine. But if you want to take same tea, you boil tea, and then you take liquid milk, which is already hot. No, hot. Maybe cold.
Okay, right.
And then you pour into your tea. So you are diluting that milk. So you can't have that consistency. So what happens if you go to Kenya? What do? You boil the milk instead of water. And then you add your coffee or tea into the milk. Then you get the same consistency and the same creaminess you get when you add powdered milk. So you have to now understand the psychology of even of the consumption pattern.
But that would be very expensive to change.
Yeah, no, it's not expensive. It's just that when people realize, for instance, if you take a fat-filled milk and you take a full cream milk, you'll know the difference. The only thing is you wouldn't know something is bad until you test what is good. So once you start testing the good, for instance, if you go to the shelf and buy L&Z yogurt, it's quite different from other yogurt.
Well, we'll charge you for advertising.
But it's a fact.
We'll charge you for advertising because if you mention a particular product, that is advert.
Yeah. So, but at the end of the day, is you have to understand the difference between something that is real and something that is imitation of the real thing. So,
and how is your effort? That's your association, the Commercial Dairy Ranchers Association. How is it faring? Are you succeeding because you are so few and you are trying to take on the established milk sellers, milk selling companies in Nigeria?
You see, the beauty of being real and being truthful is no matter how small you are, you can, if you are truthful and honest, you can take on no matter how gigantic an adversary is, so long he is on the wrong side of truth. So this is the challenge. This is not a challenge.
But both of you are business people.
Yeah, but we are business people. We have what we are selling. They have what they are selling. And what we are saying is we are business people. We are Nigerians, and we want to sell what is Nigerian. And this is our facts. So you come and present your facts. When you are bring the same full cream as I am producing from my farm, and present to and let's look at the price. It's just a market force determination. So once we do, but the thing is, the environment has to be enabled by government. That's just what we're not saying government should come and hold us and hold others and make us better. No. All you need to do is let it be fair. Let it be fair.
Then what about the animals themselves? Although you've argued that even the local breeds with their numbers could produce enough milk, what about, because I know even on your own farm, you are crossing with other breeds to produce better milk producing breeds. So are you saying abandon that line of...
No. You see, this is the beauty of market. Once you have an animal that is producing 1 liter, and you know, for instance, today, you can earn 300 naira for 1 liter, and you now start to ask yourself, it's a market, now how do I increase my profitability? The easiest is increase the volume of your product. How do I do that? You have 3 ways. Either you improve the nutrition, you improve the genetic, or you improve the environment. So the first thing is we improve the nutrition, and we realize that the genetic nature of animal has limit to which it can give us that volume. So when we reach that, then we now go back and say, okay, what else do? We say, okay, now environment. We did environment. We realized these animals don't even need that environment to give you higher milk. Then what is missing is the genetics. That, okay, we now, these animals in those climates are giving you higher volume. And we as a business, we need this volume. So we go into crossbreeding to improve our breed so that we get higher milk That's just what we are doing. It's just a market determined decision.
But I understand that even one of the local breeds, the Bokolo, gives much higher milk, and if you cross it with the more exotic breeds, you get even an improved production.
That's what I'm saying. I had a Bokolo in my farm that was giving me up to 8 liters, when the average of local animal has been established to be about 2 liters. But I saw an animal that was giving me 8 liters because I have just
improved the environment.
Just the breed, the nutrition.
Feeding, all right.
Just the nutrition. That's what we did. And then there we are. We get it. And 8 liters, mind you, at the current, 300 times 8. So we're talking about close to 2,000 naira. One animal. So if you have 10 and you are getting even 5 liters, 3 times 5, you're talking about 1,005 times 10. You're talking about 15,000 a day.
Every day.
Every day. And the feed and the cost of running will not be more than 5,000. Then here you are. You'll be netting 10,000 with 10 animals daily. In 30 months, in 30 days, you'll be having 30 times 10,000. That's about 300,000.
But cows consume so much feed. How do you manage to feed them in a way that is commercially viable for you? And what sort of advice will you give to others who are considering that kind of venture?
Yeah, the beauty of it is what cows consume is, if you like, rubbish. That's what their system is built to do. So you have to go an extra mile to bring in supplements. And supplements don't need more than 3 kg per animal per day. This supplement is just for you because you are targeting maybe additional weight, or you're targeting milk, more milk yield. Otherwise, naturally, they will feed on grass. And this is a function of land. And that's why we're calling on, and we have it in, it's available. All is just the political will, because the land, it's in the hands of the governors. So it's just a decision that they need to make, that, okay, we're going to make this land available, and then bring in business people to come and establish pastures. So that's all it takes.
But we've been talking about it since Audu Ogbe was minister. I'm not sure any pasture has been established since then, or has it?
Yeah, there are some states. For instance, Nasarawa has given land, and I think it has gone quite far in establishment of pasture. And I think there's livestock transformation office in the office.
But that's all the government bit. Have business people embrace this because they could see opportunity?
Yeah, the challenge is land, the inability of some of the governments to give certification to these business people, and I don't blame them. Some of the business people are not genuine. For instance, we're talking, there's a state government that had given us land now, and they have even issued a certificate, and we're establishing pasture, and we're moving animals to that place, and we're even working with them in their grazing reserves to organize their pastoralists into one community, and we've gone far. So, and I'm sure there are a lot of us in our association that are willing to do that, but we're having challenges in some of these areas that we're operating.
Very valid point, at which juncture we may have to draw the curtain for this interview. Thank you very much, Alhaji Muhammad Abubakar, for coming onto the program.
Thank you, Manar. My pleasure.
Viewers, we've come to the end of this edition of 30 Minutes. Keep at it with us.